Investigators start by assuring a student that their conversation is confidential to encourage honesty about the previous day's events. When asked about 7th period, the student initially claims nothing unusual happened beyond classmates throwing paper balls.
So describe what the class looked like yesterday during 7th period.
Okay, I'm just gonna imagine a room, right?
Okay, so this is Ms. Torres' desk. Ms. Torres is at the desk.
Torres is right here. There's a table of kids right here. Here's where the computers are. Kids on the computers. People throwing them on paper balls here. Her trying to get them to stop doing that.
The student describes the classroom layout, specifically placing Ms. Torres at her desk while students were on computers or being disruptive.
Guys,
Describe him.
Investigators zero in on a specific boy described as having fluffy hair, wearing jeans and a black shirt.
What color was it?
Top shirt.
Shirt. Black.
Was it just black?
I think it was just black.
Okay, so he was sitting next to her?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so was anything unusual?
No, they were just chatting.
Okay, anything else? And again, so I'm gonna reiterate, you're not in trouble.
Yeah, I know.
But I am gonna tell you that if I'm asking these questions, I'm asking these questions because we already have information.
Yeah, this isn't about you.
It's not about you.
It's not about me, but I'm trying to remember what happened.
So nothing like super weird happened?
Nothing super weird. Nothing super weird ever happens.
Can I ask a question?
When directly confronted with reports that a student was sitting on the teacher's lap, the witness flatly denies.
Miss Torres' lap.
Okay.
But were you in their 7th period?
Yes. I'm being serious.
In both periods you were in, you didn't see anybody sitting on Miss Torres' lap?
No.
Was anyone in her lap at all?
Like laying their head in her lap?
No.
Talk to me about Discord.
The what?
Discord.
Was it chatting? Yeah.
Okay, and what about it?
Investigators probe the use of Discord. The student claims it is only for talking to friends and denies messaging any teacher.
How are you? Good. You know you're not in trouble, right? Yeah. I'm good. So we hear that something happened in Miss Torres' class yesterday and that maybe you saw it. Were you in there yesterday?
What period? That was 2 periods.
5th and 7th period. Okay, so you weren't in there yesterday? So you see anything weird in there yesterday? No? Like, did you see kids like sitting behind her desk?
Sitting behind what?
Behind her desk.
Whose desk?
Miss Torres.
No.
Okay. Alright, we good?
What were you wearing yesterday?
A second student is asked to identify what they wore: a white, long sleeve and bluish, blackish pants, to verify their location on security footage.
Miss Torres' class in 5th and 7th period?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So some other kids have come to us and told us that they saw some things that were like a little odd for the classroom. Can you share what you saw happening in the classroom?
A third student provides a breakthrough, admitting that after returning from lunch, they saw a student with his face on Ms. Torres' lap.
Like not sitting on her lap, but his face was like on her lap. And then I didn't like mind it, like, cause I wanted to do my work. And I'm like, that she could deal with that. And then when I left, and then when I came back for all my work on it, so I went to her. I was in there with another person, and I saw the same thing again. But I didn't think about it. Mentioned it to me.
The witness admits the situation felt wrong, stating, "She's like a teacher, and it's a student, so it's like not normal."
Not normal thing you would see. Do you know what that kid's name is?
No, man.
You ever seen him before?
I've seen him at lunch a few times. He has sat in front of me a few times.
Do you know any classes that is he her kid? Do you know?
No, man, I don't know any of that.
Okay.
Is he in either of the classes that you had with her?
No, sir.
Okay, so you'd never seen him in those classes with you before?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know anybody who maybe would know his name that was in there yesterday?
No.
You don't think?
So I just want to say that when I walked into the clinic, he was in there with another student that, of course, I know that he knows that we talked to. And, okay, thank you. And talking about the situation. Yep.
Okay. So, what's your name? Deputy Rafferty. I don't know if you've seen me around. I'm sure you have. So, tell me what's going on.
The fluffy-haired student is brought in. he immediately claims his classmates hate her and are just snitching.
This is like apparently the second time this has happened or something.
Okay. What makes you think that?
Low key, because they always be cursing at her and they don't stop, and they be throwing stuff in her room and she be telling them to stop and they just don't.
Okay. So I guess my question is, why do you think that you're in here talking to us right now? Because you're not in any trouble. I want you to know that. You're not in trouble. We're just trying to make sure.
I'm already filled in on a situation you don't gotta.
Okay, what's the situation?
What's it? My other friend told me that apparently she's getting like told that somebody sat in her lap or something.
Okay.
Mhm.
Was that you?
No.
Or, okay, so, because somebody showed us, a video, and it kind of looks like you. So what is going on?
When told there is video evidence that looks like you, the student admits he was laying down on her, but insists nothing weird was happening.
Nothing weird is going on.
And that's her you're talking to? On text or
Through the
Discord?
messages, nothing's weird.
Is that on Discord or?
Yeah,
Okay. Any text messages with her or
just on Discord.
Okay. So you were in that class most of the day yesterday? Okay. I mean, there was a lot of people in there that weren't supposed to be in there, but how often do you have her class?
Like one period.
Okay.
It's my fault though. I made a fake pass and went in there, so.
Gotcha. How old are you? How often do you in a private server with her on Discord, or are you in a group server?
DMs and other stuff, but like nothing weird,
Okay. So there are private and group?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else is talking to her on Discord?
Like.
Have you ever talked to her outside of school?
No.
Well, I mean, on Discord, obviously, but
Yeah, but not like.
you've never met her outside of school?
No.
Okay. You ever been to her house?
No. Man, you're trying to make her seem like a pedo.
I'm not. No,
She's really not.
there are questions I have to ask.
She's a girlfriend and all.
Okay.
Like, if you want me to be serious,
Yeah.
she's not doing anything weird. Like.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday was just you laying your head in her lap.
Yeah.
What were you guys talking about?
Like nothing, basically.
Okay. And that was so. I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. Have you ever?
Now I'm gonna come back here.
So what do you guys talk about on Discord?
We literally just play games. That's it.
Okay. And you talk? Is it like an everyday thing, or how often?
Every day.
How often would you say?
Like, I don't know, like every 2 days or something.
Okay.
But like, it's, we
Yeah.
like just play games.
Okay. Do you have any questions that you want?
Does your mom hear you talk to her?
No,
Like on
she probably
Discord?
wouldn't care.
You don't think she would care?
No. I mean, like, nowadays, it's not really weird, because if it was someone else online, and I didn't know them IRL, y'all wouldn't care, of course. So, it's like, all I'm trying to say is, it's not that weird nowadays,
But you know that she wasn't supposed to talk to you on Discord, right?
Okay.
But I'm asking, did you know that? Okay. Alright, so she doesn't touch you in a way that you think is inappropriate.
No.
Okay. So you just have like what you perceive to be an innocent relationship.
I know you're trying to make it seem like...
No, I'm not.
I'm being serious. You are. You're over here like, she's doing all this. She's really not. Like, I'm the one who asked for her Discord. Like, that's all me. She, she's just being nice to her. She does not like kids or anything like that. I can, affirm to you. It's not that weird. Like, there's other teachers here who who do all the same stuff and don't get in trouble, Like, she got in trouble for cursing or something the other day. That's crazy to me, because she's new, I know, but that's a normal thing. Like, y'all probably curse too, don't you? So, and there's other teachers here who be cursing at me and other kids, so if y'all want to fire her for that and other stuff, y'all gotta fire them too.
The narrative moves months ahead to the formal interrogation of Dianelli Torres herself. Torres first attempts to explain the lap incident by claiming the student had a headache and she didn't know what to do.
It's a curse word. It's not that deep.
I hadn't heard she was cursing, just so you know.
Okay, that's whatever. But it's not that deep. Literally, like, half the teachers out of school, unless they're over 60, they're gonna be cursing. I'm telling you. And there's other teachers who do the exact same stuff. Maybe not the head in the lap thing. That's my bad. I was hella tired. But I'm being so serious. She did nothing weird.
What do I do with this computer? Should I delete stuff if I find her on it, or should I keep it?
So the first thing I was gonna ask, so how much of what you know is going on?
All I know is that my daughter just told me that a teacher is playing games with him, and you guys think that she was trying to groom him or some crap like that.
Right.
So I just heard from my daughter. That's exactly what I know about what's going on.
So I'll give you the basic rundown of what we have. So several students reported that they walked into a classroom and they saw him with his head laying in the lap of a 25-year-old substitute teacher, and she was massaging his head. He was in that class.
Under questioning, Torres admits to a dating relationship that included physical contact, such as kissing and biting, as well as explicit digital exchanges.
Messaging her on an app called Discord that we know of for quite some time.
Off the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm writing it up. He didn't make any disclosure of anything sexual to me, but it just the way he was defending her. And I've been doing this for 12 years. It's suspicious. Just the fact that he was defending her, saying that she's not a pedophile. It's not like that. It says sexual relationship to me, which he'd be the victim of. I'm not saying he's in trouble or anything like that.
This is not even like him.
Right. Yeah.
He even play with an adult online. He knows better.
Right.
'Cause I'm like a computer geek, and I want to go through his computer like a...
Right. So that brings
what
me...
I'm trying to say is if I find stuff on there with this woman on it, should I keep it?
Well, that brings me to the next point. So I just talked to... I'm obviously writing up a case, and it's going to be forwarded to our sex crimes division. And the detective told me to ask you if you guys are willing for us to collect his phone, and do a consent to search form where they will open the Discord and see what they can find.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, take it.
I want to, talk to you about all that. Why did you leave in February?
Well, basically, it's because of an incident that happened at school. And essentially, I had a child lay their head on my lap. And obviously, it was against TOS and many other things, so I got in trouble for that, and that's fine. And then they basically contacted me, asked for my information, and then told me that they were going to open a DCF case.
Okay.
I didn't know that DCF stood for Department of Children and Families. It's new because in Philadelphia they call it something completely different.
Like CPS or
something?
something?
Yeah, so I didn't know, and I was like, okay, no problem. And that's basically the gist of it.
Okay. Were you contacted by DCF or?
No, you guys came today.
Yeah.
This was the very first time I've been contacted by anybody regarding
outside of school.
Yeah, because I was expecting they're like, you're gonna get a letter and you're gonna get arrested, and I was like, okay, and I've just been waiting basically.
Okay. Why would you get arrested?
Because I was having contact with the students in class. They found my Discord.
Okay.
And they also found my social media and stuff like that, and some of them were contacting me. Mostly to ask me to draw them stuff because they knew that I draw, so I would just send them art and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. So this incident at the school, you said you had a child sitting in your lap or laying in your lap? Tell me about that.
He laid his head on my lap. He had a headache, but then he laid his head on my lap, and then I just kind of left him there.
Okay.
I wasn't sure what to do, but I told him to get off after a while, but it was in a class full of students, so obviously they were going to tell the...
Okay.
So,
was it during class or? Oh.
During class.
Okay. Is this one of your students?
Yeah. But from what I know, they said that they have footage and everything, so I was like, okay, well, you guys have the footage, so...
Never hung out outside the schoolroom or outside of Discord?
No, just on Discord mainly. A lot of the stuff was on Discord. If I had to say, we met up one time IRL, and when we met up, basically the entirety of that thing was I went, got food, I got him food, and then we're I gotta go pick up my sister, I'm gonna drop you off, and then that's what happened.
Gotcha, okay. Did you pick him up from his house? Because I don't think he drives.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
What do you drive?
My mom's car.
I don't want this to be confrontation. I want this to just talk and kind of let me know about your relationship. The stuff I already know, I just want to kind of figure out why this is happening and how your relationship is. Are you guys, dating? Are you in love with each other? Is this just a hangout and hook up type thing? I'm just trying to figure out where you guys are in your relationship, if that makes sense. Okay.
If I had to put it lightly, because happened maybe I don't know, maybe a month ago, I like to say. We talked about it, and then he was like, I like you. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, you do know you're this age, right? And he said, yeah, I know. And I was like, okay, well, I prefer to date somebody of age. And I told him that. And he was like, well, I really like you though. And I'm like, okay, well, like I said, I'd rather date somebody of age. And then we went back and forth until we both came down to an agreement where basically it was he was like, well, when I'm of age, would you date me? And I was like, if I'm not dating anybody, sure. But otherwise, no. But then we went back and forth some more, and then we kind of started a thing, basically.
What do you mean by that? Like started something?
Like basically dating.
Okay.
No, that's like the biggest thing.
Okay. How long have you guys been, you say basically dating? Yeah. A month. Okay.
It's been a month.
Okay. Obviously part of that dating is probably not just hanging out and going to Wawa's or something more that happened on that day that you hung out?
No, I mean like, how do I explain it? Like, we've been physical, but not like,
Okay.
I'm still very much, if I had to share, a virgin, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I appreciate you trusting me with that information.
Yeah, 100%.
When you say physical, what do you mean?
Neck, mainly neck, if I had to say.
Like kissing neck?
Yeah.
Like, okay, okay. Sorry, I wanted to make sure what you were meaning. Okay.
Kissing neck, holding hand, kissing face.
Yeah.
That's basically.
That's as far as it's gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, in terms of like IRL, I'm sure, like you said, you have all the information you've seen.
She confesses to performing sexual acts at a local trailhead and sending full-body nude photos to the 13-year-old.
Okay, so you've received nude photos from him as well? Okay. Tell me about these photos that you've sent him.
There's been like stuff he asks, so I'm like, okay.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what does he ask for? What do you send?
Top, I guess. Nude top, some legs, some here, some there.
Okay. Nude top, like
the
breasts?
Body and
Or, okay. Okay. Anything more than just the breasts that you've sent him? Okay.
No.
Whole body. Okay. How many times do you think you sent those?
I've lost count.
Okay. So more than once? Okay. And how many times has he sent you pictures of himself?
I don't know, like
30?
I have to say.
Within the last month?
Yeah.
Okay. When you guys started like dating, what you would call
In
it?
the last month, yeah.
Okay. Anything past the kissing that happened when you guys have hung out at all? Okay, nothing sexual. I know you said you're still a virgin, so you guys haven't had sex?
No, I'm too scared to have sex.
Okay. Is there like a reason for that, or like a reason why you guys didn't?
I just don't want to have sex with a minor.
Okay.
In general.
Gotcha.
And like also like I have like bad immune system, so I don't want to accidentally end up passing out.
Gotcha. Okay. You're feeling okay right now, though?
Yeah.
I want you to pass out on me.
Yeah, I have like bad anemia, so
Okay.
just chilling though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I said, like you were saying, yeah, we've touched you. You'll probably, like I said, you have the Discord messages and stuff, so you'll see that we talk about like pegging, which is just essentially sex. We just made mad jokes about him half the time. It's just a lot of, I'm gonna peg you, okay, bet. I'm gonna peg you, okay, bet. That's
So nothing that's actually happened in that sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
We like talk about it, but I'm just like, it's like very jokingly. Like he knows there's a fine line, so.
Gotcha.
Even
okay.
then, yeah.
Okay. I know there was some text, and I'm trying to remember about like some like breathing through your nose, some deep throating, things like that. Is that something that happened when you guys hung out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you performed oral sex on him, I guess? You gave
Yeah.
Okay. Did that happen one time, more than one time? 2 times. Okay. Did he ever perform like the act back on you? Did he ever? Okay.
No, he has not put any. He hasn't given me oral. He hasn't like touched my insides. He has given me hickeys, and he's like bitten me like crazy.
Okay.
But not like actually performed the same acts on me.
Okay. So he's never like digitally penetrated you, like fingered you, or okay. Has his penis gone anywhere else other than in your mouth? No. Okay.
He's mentioned about like from the
Okay.
and I'm not gonna lie, that the idea of it kind of hurts in my head. So no, thanks.
Okay. So that's
He always
never
asks,
happened.
and I'm like, absolutely not.
Okay. So that hasn't happened. It's just something that you guys kind of talk about. Okay. So you've given him. But
Yes.
He hasn't done anything to you.
No.
Have you done anything else, like masturbated him or like touched his penis? Okay. With what? Your hand. Okay. How many times has that happened?
Maybe one time.
Okay.
One time for sure.
Okay. And it's always these times where you pick them up, you go to Wawa, you go to the trailhead. All these happen at the trailhead?
Well, yeah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, the trailhead, because I don't really go anywhere else.
Okay. Are you guys like parked in the car at the trailhead, or are you guys just off on the trail kind of
Sometimes
doing
we
this?
go off on the trail, sometimes, no, one time we went off on the trail, then like the other like 2-3 times.
The detective leaves a room to do an extraction of Dianelli's phone, so the former teacher is left in the interrogation room for hours. When the detective returns, it's clear Dianelli isn't going home anytime soon.
Sorry that took a minute. Like I said, we had to manually go through your phone, and it just took a minute, okay? But I want to let you know that
After manually extracting data from her phone, a detective returns to inform Torres she is being placed under arrest. The detective explains that because the victim is 13, the transmitted and possessed material is classified as child pornography, resulting in her being held without bond. Following the investigation, Dianelli Torres was formally charged with cruelty toward a child, lewd and lascivious behavior, transmission of harmful material to a minor, and several counts of possession of child pornography.